Well, here we go. And as I always open up with well, because it is a well, we're going to go deep. We're going to do a deep dive tonight. It's Collie from Collie Talks Transformative Conversation. And you know what? If you think healing has to look polished and perfect, you haven't met Sharol Sommerville, straight out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and proud of it. Sharol comes from a lineage of bootleggers, bad boys, and a thirst for the wild side of life, baby. But here's the twist. Instead of letting her past write her story, Sharol grabbed the pen and lit the old script on fire. For the past 45 years, she's been doing the deep, the messy, the miraculous work of healing intergenerational trauma, blending traditional wisdom, non-traditional methods, and a whole lot of grit, heart, and humor. As a Reiki master, wellness coach, survivor, and child abuse prevention educator, Sharol's mission is simple. Walk every day with inner peace and joy and drag as many beautiful souls as she can into the light with her. She's living proof that your past might shape you, but it sure as hell doesn't get to define you. So get ready, fasten your seatbelt, because Sharol is with me, and she is not here to play small, and she's definitely not here to leave you the same. So welcome, Sharol.
Wow. Well, that's a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Collie. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm excited to hear myself.
So,
Thank you for that beautiful
yeah.
introduction.
Oh, you're so welcome, so deserving. And you know what? As I always say, my listeners, my audience is now yours. So, you know, eh, we're all in this together, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I'm so excited because I love you and I can't wait to share you with our audience right now. So, I was going to ask you, Sharol, when you reflect on your life journey, what moments stand out as sacred turning points?
Good question. Which moments? I love how you said about it being messy. It's not being polished. And the moments, I think the moments that stand out the most in my life are the messiest of all messy. Those those were the best. The mess was the best. And there's this wonderful saying, and it says the message is in the mess. And it's so true. So what
Mhm.
moments stand out? And I think the one of the moments that stand out the most for me is not too long ago, about 2 years ago, after about $100,000 worth of therapy. I was sitting in a therapist chair, and the lady said to me, "Little lovely woman, lovely woman." I think I'd gone to about 3 sessions with her, and she looked at me and she said, "Well, dear," in her quiet, beautiful voice, she
Mhm.
said, "What is it exactly that you want?"
Mm.
And I remember looking at her, Colleen, and I said, "I would like to be my authentic self."
Mhm.
And I'll never forget the moment. It was like the world stopped at that particular moment,
Mhm.
and I heard my voice. I
Mhm.
remember getting into my car thinking, "What the hell does that even mean?"
Oh,
You
wow.
know what I mean? Like, I just kinda spewed some, I don't know, preamble that I read in a self-help book. Like, I wanna be my authentic self, and it was that moment, that was a defining moment for me. So I
Mhm.
thought, that's a lovely buzzword, but what does it mean? And,
Mm.
we go on this quest to go find ourselves, and I walked over to the mirror and went, "Holy crap, there I am."
Yeah.
I didn't have too far to look. So so when she said that to me, that was a defining moment because I thought, "Do I wanna do the same walk that everybody else is doing, or do I wanna do something different?" And
Mm.
so that was the defining thing about 2 years ago. I thought, "I need to figure out what is this authentic self? Who am I? What do I wanna be? What does that even look like?" So
Mhm.
that was one of my big defining moments, and then I had a woman tell me something that connected my whole life. It was a matter of 5 minutes that she connected everything for me in 5 minutes. That was a huge defining moment too. So those would be
Wow.
my 2 moments.
Awesome.
And of
And,
course, meeting you was a defining day as well.
oh, yeah. Well,
For sure, no.
it
No,
was
you
for
changed
me.
my life. You
Well,
did.
it was
You
for
did.
me as well, because ditto, girl. You've changed mine as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've lived through, because I know we've talked, and unimaginable hardships. Like, I mean, we're including surviving an abusive relationship and living on the streets. And what inner strength, Sharol, helped you survive during those darkest chapters?
It seems that inner knowing.
Mm.
You know that little spite, and I always say this to kids. I work with kids, and
Mhm.
well, I shouldn't say I work with kids. I play with kids. Kids teach me. I
Mhm.
get to go to school, and these kids teach me all the time. But we always talk about this thing called your spidey sense.
Mm.
You know that
Mhm.
little gnawing in your belly, that little
Yep.
knowing that says "Don't quit."
Mhm.
During some of my darkest of times, even when I wanted to quit, I couldn't. There
Mhm.
was this freaking knowing, this voice, this, I don't know, this thing, this pit that said, there's something waiting. There's something on the other side of this.
Mm.
Hang in there. There's got to be a silver lining. And I think I've always, ever since I came out of the womb, I've
Mhm.
always known that there was something at the end of this, that
Mhm.
there's a reason for this. So that would be it. In all the times, just that knowing that there's something else. There has
That
to be.
yeah.
There just has to be. Maybe it's just being mad. I don't know.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
There's that inner knowingness. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I can say.
Mhm.
Like you say, right? It's that just that niggly, and
Yes.
it's not like protrusive. It's just there, and it's
Mhm.
subtle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's louder, but it's
Yeah.
that inner knowingness, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And with regards to that, what was one moment, because I know you were homeless. So
Mhm.
during that time of homelessness, what was that one moment that changed you forever, whether by breaking you
Mhm.
open or lifting you up?
Mm. Believe it or not, it has to do with toilet paper.
Oh, please do share.
It has to do with toilet paper. So when COVID hit, I laughed because everybody went into this
Yeah.
scarcity about toilet paper, right?
Right.
But the truth is, it has everything to do with dignity.
Mm.
Toilet paper represents dignity, and I'll never
Mhm.
forget. So I'm on the streets, and
Mhm.
I was in my 15, 16-year-old around that time in my life, living in Moose Jaw. I was on the streets, and I had to use the washroom so bad. And listen, I'm a lady, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I wanted to. I needed dignity, and I didn't even. No one would let you use their washroom.
Right.
Right? Because first of all, you're a youth. What's wrong with you? You're going to steal stuff. The image. And no matter what I did, no matter how clean I was, there was that judgment piece. And
Mm.
it just takes away every fiber of you because you're less than nothing. And I remember thinking, if I just had toilet paper,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And no one would even offer me, like, even to get a napkin in a restaurant at that time. It was like everything was hidden. It was just, but that moment, and I thought, I never, ever in my life want to be without my dignity. Can do without money. I
Mhm.
can do with all kinds of things, but never let me lose my dignity.
Right.
That was a big thing. And so now, and I do a lot with, in our community with our displaced and that piece. And that I always look at people dignity first, human dignity first.
Yeah.
That's super
Absolutely.
important. Super important, whether it's toilet paper or a hug. So, yeah,
Mhm.
when everybody was toilet paper flying off the shelves and during COVID, I
Yeah.
understood it.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Right?
Absolutely. Of
Right?
course. Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, I was even guilty of taking a few extra rolls. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, no guilt there, no shame or blame. I mean, really, we
Right?
all need to go to the washroom,
Yeah.
right?
Right? Yeah, but it's
And
that thing. It's amazing how we overlook that as a
mhm,
human society. How we
mhm,
overlook. I just said to a gentleman the other day, he's one of our displaced, and I said to him, we was serving dinner, and after dinner, I said to him, "Would you like a hug?" So
mm.
I said, and we hugged each other, this man and I, and we wouldn't let go. I
Aw,
don't know him, but I wouldn't let go of him. He wouldn't let go of me. I wouldn't let go of him, and I waited until he let go. But dignity,
yeah,
we're missing that.
absolutely.
We're missing human connection in our
Big
and
time.
dignity. Yeah.
Absolutely. Big time connection, right? And that
Ah.
that hug that you gave to one another, I mean, the depth of where it
Mhm.
went when you think in terms of, you know, just the vibrational frequency into the nervous system and then into all the organs and the glands, and just we'd never know how it's going to
Right?
come out on the other end, but such an amazing healing in that
You know,
moment.
and I think that's what it's about. It's about this getting back to the basics.
Mhm.
Holly. You know, the
Mhm.
basics of life, the basic of connection of humanism, about vulnerability and being real, not being afraid to say out loud, listen, I'm not perfect. I'm not polished. I don't want to be. There's too much work. You know, it's way too much work. Listen, I like the hairdo where you can just get up and make a run for it. You know, makeup's getting too expensive. I don't know, but
Exa and it's really not good for you.
no, no.
No.
And at the end of the day, we're all looking the same when we put our head in the pillow. You know what I
Ex
mean? Like, what are we trying to
Exactly.
do here?
Or pull out the partial tooth.
Right?
Right.
Exactly.
It's
You know,
it's
take off a leg, I don't know.
I know,
You
I
know,
love it.
and
And
but what yeah, it's this but that's the whole media piece, and I
oh,
think that
yeah.
if we now as women now, or we now as not just women, but as humans, as adults, if we
Mhm.
all just stop just for a minute and we take a breath and we think, "Okay, what is the one thing that's missing in our world today? What's the one thing?" And it's
Connection.
connection. So it's
Absolutely.
and that doesn't take money
No,
to have connection. It
no, it
doesn't.
it really doesn't. It's so I saw a meme or whatever they're called the other day, with regards to a person dialing on the old phone of which I grew up with, right? And then the next one is a person on the cell phone, and it alludes to the fact that the person on the phone, in the phone booth or in your house, we had more freedom then because it
Mhm.
wasn't attached to us. It didn't control
Exactly.
us, right?
Mhm.
So we could walk away and make the call whenever, but now with the phone and social media and everything, we can't escape it unless we don't take it with us. And then all of a
Right.
sudden people freak if they don't have their phone with them because they might it's that fear of missing out.
Right.
God
Good old
God
FOMO.
God forbid. Right? So, you speak a lot about hope and healing. And
Mhm.
so, what did you have to heal within yourself first before you could guide others?
Oh. Oh. Well, I'll tell you, I met a woman, and her name is
Hmm.
Elder Betty McKenna.
Okay.
So, all my life, I've always felt different. I've always felt odd. I've always felt like I was an alien.
Hmm.
Nothing ever made sense. My life
Mm.
never made sense, and I'm a child, I was born in the '60s, and I was, custodial kidnapped as a child, and we were hid from family to family, and so I didn't grow up with my parents. I grew up with caregivers, with aunts and uncles. So I did not know my history, I did not know my culture, I knew nothing. I actually thought
Hmm.
I was indigenous. I actually
Wow.
believed I was indigenous,
Oh my
and that's
goodness.
where I've always fit. Till
Okay.
about 2012, I found out I wasn't. I did my ancestry DNA. Turns out I'm not. I'm Celtic. Great people. But I was lost. Like, what? And I was devastated. I went through this major depression because I did not know who I was. So I'm sitting with this elder, Betty McKenna, beautiful woman. And she told me something about what's called the Seven Stones teachings.
Okay.
And she
Do
said,
yeah.
before a child gets into the rapids of life, which is the teenage years, there are seven things that every child should have, fundamental things that they should have before they become a teenager. And then when they become a teenager, they're not going to end up idiots or lost in the river, right?
Okay.
And there's seven just small things. And the first of them is the emotions. Every child needs to be able to grow with emotions, be able to
Hmm.
have an emotion, know what they are, be okay to scream, be okay to cry, understand what emotions are, right? Because that's how you
Right.
grow.
Okay.
Emotions.
Hmm.
Know what they are. Be allowed to have them for crying out loud, right? And the second one is order. Every child needs to know order, cause and effect,
Hmm.
right? Know that if they do something, there's going to be an effect to that, and to know the truth. So if they know that, they're not going to run around questioning it for the rest of their life, right? And
Right.
then adequacy. What's enough for that child? What's enough for them? We walk around going, oh, you better eat your supper, eat your supper. You can't be full. Meanwhile, the kid's belly's expanding. And how will they
Right.
ever know if they're full if they never learn themselves? What's
Mm.
enough for them? What's adequate for them? Not for
Right.
us, right? So, and then there's love. And what is love really? Love is about servantship. Love is about loving yourself first and then giving love. So it's servantship. It's back and forth. It isn't greedy and needy, right?
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
what love is. And then of course we get into social acceptance. Kids need an opportunity to be involved in community. They got to
Oh,
be involved in
yeah.
some, whether it's brownies or sports or I don't know, go put your kid on the porch and let him play with a neighbor's kid. Social acceptance. That's how they learn to be accepted in social society. They have to have experience, right?
Right.
And so then when you have that, then when a kid has all these things, they've got some self-esteem. They like themselves, right?
What a
And so
concept.
when they get to be a teenager, and those things when you're doing the body image, when they have all these things, they feel strong enough for themselves. So when they start getting pushed against, you need to come on, try drugs. Actually, no, that doesn't work for me. I don't need
Mhm.
to. I know
Mhm.
myself enough, right? And at the
Mm.
very end, when you give them those six, this last one is security, the stone of security. They know all this stuff. They feel secure about themselves. That child will never get lost in the river. They will never, ever have to spend the rest of their life walking around saying, tell me, am I enough?
Right.
Which is what we do, right?
Oh, for sure.
So Elder
Absolutely.
says this to me, and I'm thinking, listen, I never received any of that stuff.
Mhm.
My caregivers were doing the best they could with what they had. They never received it. And I'm thinking, had every child, if every child knew these seven things before they became a teenager, they believed in themselves and they knew what was right for them. Can you imagine the
Mm.
world we would live in?
Oh.
Less
Oh.
addictions.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
enough. I am enough. I'm good enough for me, which means I should be good enough for you. And if I'm not, we're not each other's people,
Absolutely. See
right?
you later. Right.
So yeah, those seven. And I tell you, I look at those seven, to me, they're just so easy because I'm like, that's what's missing.
Mhm.
Now I get curious when I'm working with youth and they're not fitting in. Well, have they even had a chance to be accepted? Do they
No.
even know they're allowed to have an emotion, for crying out loud?
Exactly, right?
No,
Yeah.
no wonder Billy's beating up Johnny.
Oh, yeah, exactly, right?
So that was a big thing. I thought, okay, well, I didn't receive those, but now I'm an adult. Guess what? I can't go around blaming people. I got to go out and find them myself. So I had to go backwards, literally go backwards
Mhm.
and pull myself out of my own river. And see, as adults, when you got that, as adults, as caregivers, all we do is we encourage children. We don't jump in and save them. But we say, you know what? I believe in you, kid. You got this. I believe
Right.
in you. You got this. And as they're floating down the river, they're going to be able to save themselves, right? They're going
And
to
all we
have
have
what
to
they
do
need.
and all we have to do is exactly what you said, is just let them,
Yeah. And let
right?
them,
Yeah.
right? That's the let them theory.
Yeah.
But if they had those tools before they became a teenager,
Mhm.
imagine.
Oh,
Oh,
wouldn't it
right?
be wonderful, right?
Wouldn't it be? And
And
then
that
myself, I didn't have them. I ended up drowning in the river, like literally had a death experience,
yeah,
drowning
please
in a
explain.
river.
Please
And I
explain.
was pregnant with my stepfather's child.
Oh my gosh, come on. Let's go there.
Yeah.
Let's go there now,
Well, I was a product of, as I was saying, from a very dysfunctional family, I guess, a lot of
right?
addictions and alcoholism and stuff. And from that, I ended up being moved into another family. And this particular family, I met an abuser and he became my pimp. And he was my stepfather. And I ended up getting pregnant with his
Wow.
child. And I had a plan for suicide.
Oh my
I
god.
was 15 years old, and I did. I had a plan and a date for suicide. And right prior to this date and plan, I ended up going down this river. It was the weirdest thing. And
Well,
I
there's a
believe
river.
everything's set up. Well, yes, right?
Yeah.
It's so strange because, and it was like it was the top of a mountain, and we were floating down this mountain, and we were getting down to the bottom of the mountain. It's one of those rides, where you get on the tube and you go down. We
Mhm.
got down to the bottom. There was this man at the bottom, and I seen him, and he was tipping people over. And there was all these signs that kept saying, "Get off here." You push your little dinghy off, and I was pushing, and I was pushing, and it was the weirdest thing because no matter how hard I pushed, I could not get off the river.
Oh my
I couldn't,
goodness.
and yet I was a really strong swimmer. Spent a lot of my life in the water, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
couldn't. I couldn't. Well, I ended up going right towards this man. I felt like this hand was like pulling me right towards the man. Anyway, I ended up going under the water. It's true as if it happened to me yesterday. It's still so vivid. I went under the water and there was all these water splashing, like, the bubbles in my
Right?
face. And I remember my breath and my anxiety and not being able to breathe and panic and the bubbles. And then all of a sudden, there was like this slideshow.
Oh
And
my
it's
goodness.
crazy. I know people think I'm nuts, but like an actual slideshow. It's exactly where it shows up. And you hear about it. It's true. It shows up.
Mhm. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so I get the slideshow. Now, listen, I'm only 15. It's not like, I had a really exciting life. But what did show up, I was really angry about because this person who hurt me, I guess, this male who had hurt me, was in my slideshow. And I
Oh,
remember being mad, thinking, why? I was mad. I was mad.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I just went limp. and I
Oh.
went light. And it was the most beautiful feeling in the entire world. It was so peaceful. The silence was deafening
Mhm.
and it was glorious. And I was floating and I kept going like closer, believe it or not, to the light. I kid you not, just like the light.
Mhm. Yep.
And as I was getting closer, I heard this voice and it said, stand up. And it was a man's voice. And it actually said it 3 times, and by the time the 3rd time, it was very authoritative, not mean, but authoritative. So, actually, I remember, like, shaking my head kinda thing, and I stood up. And I was in water, but not really, really deep, but I
Mhm.
had drifted so far away from where I'd started that when I crawled to the side of the river, I laid there forever. It took me forever to walk back up to the group. How I am still alive to this day is a miracle. 'Cause I
Wow.
was under that water for such a long time. It took me a long time to walk back up, and
Mhm.
I had assumed that the person that I was with, that man's voice was the one that told me to stand up. There wasn't a human being around anywhere,
Oh my word.
because when I walked back, that person looked at me and said, "Oh, there you are. Where'd you go?"
Oh
And
my
I looked
god.
at him and I said, "Didn't you tell me to stand up?" And he goes, "No, we couldn't find you." And
Okay.
my life changed from that day.
That would be yes,
Mhm. Yeah.
angel.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's happened a couple times. I've had several of those experiences where a total stranger angel that didn't exist actually existed. I've had that. My life has been saved a couple of times. But in that moment, but that it is true, you do get a slideshow, and that was a realization that we do have our exit points,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
are called. There is a reason why we're here. There's a reason, and that tenaciousness, those experiences, that
Right?
pain, all that stuff. There's going to be a day when we meet somebody who says, "I can't do this." And you're
Right.
like, "Wait a minute, wait. I think you
Mhm.
can. I think you can. I think you can." What if we looked at it differently?
Mhm.
And that's the way I look at my life now. I'm like, "Okay, if it's there, what if we just looked at it differently? Is it possible that what this could mean is?" And that's the world I live in. I
Oh,
live in the
wow.
world of wonder now, of connecting those dots. If that did not happen,
Mhm.
I wouldn't be here.
No, you
I
wouldn't.
had a plan and a date like, I had a plan. I had it all. And out of nowhere, boom, you know? So I totally believe that whatever it is you believe in, there's a higher power, whether it's God or, I don't know, creator or Baha'u'llah or our pet frog. I don't care.
Yeah,
Pet rock.
exactly. Right.
Just
Yeah.
believe in something
Something.
because it's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Those, I mean, it's so true. And those invisible battles that you fought that, the world doesn't always see has definitely shaped you
Yeah.
who
And
you
it
are
has, it comes
today,
down to
right?
that. It comes down to that. We're all I think if we lined everybody up and we said, "Okay, if you get right down to the core issue, what is it you're thinking?" I think everybody would be stand up there going, "I'm worried that I'm not enough."
Mhm.
And I think if we all just looked at each other and said, "Yeah, you are." "Oh, you're thinking that? Oh, I'm thinking that?"
Yeah.
What a world we would live in.
I'm
It would
not
just be
enough.
different.
Yeah, I'm not enough. And
Yeah,
it
but
comes
we are.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's a darkness, right? And so with that darkness now when it comes knocking, if it ever does for you, I don't know, but what
Mm,
is the first light
mm,
that you reach for within yourself?
mm. Okay. I like that. What's the first light? Oh, I truly believe this.
Mm,
Is I believe that we all have one job. Everybody, I don't care who you are.
okay.
President of the United States or you're a 3-year-old child. We all
Mhm.
have one job.
Okay.
And that is if you were given the gift of a new day,
Mhm.
if you woke up today, your job is to do better than you did yesterday. That's it.
And that's the light that you reach for.
That's light.
Oh,
So
cool.
when it gets really dark, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, could it be worse? Could it be worse? And yeah, actually it could have been worse. It could be. But the light is that okay, I can do better. It can be better. Things can be better. And a lot of times this land of denial, it's not my fault.
Mm.
Well, listen, honey, I'm the common denominator. It's my life. Clearly, I'm
It's
the
my
common denominator, right? Like,
exactement.
the land of denial is very comfortable for a long
Oh,
time, but
absolutely.
it gets lonely.
Yeah, and it is a river, right? It's that
Yeah.
river. It's that river that we can float along and
Mm,
in for only so long, right?
right? Yeah.
And
At some point, we gotta pull ourselves out.
absolutely,
Mhm. Yeah.
absolutely. You know, I was thinking in terms of your experience of all the things that you've been through and still are going through, what do you Cheryl, what do you feel blocks people from healing the most? Is it
Mm.
fear, loyalty, grief, or something deeper?
What resonates for me when you said that, what keeps people is that there's the big V, there's the vulnerability,
Mm,
is that I don't know, there's this this false belief
mhm,
that we are different than somebody else, but in reality, we're not. We
mm,
all have feelings. We all have so it's that if I could break one wall, if I could
mhm,
choose one wall to break down to connect everybody together, it's that knowing that, listen, we're all scared.
mm,
We're all scared
mhm,
of being honest. We're
yep,
all afraid of being judged because if we're judged, we're going to be rejected. And we all have felt rejected since birth. And that's why we started crying when we were born. We felt rejection. So we're all just trying to find love again. So in reality, we're all doing the same thing.
mhm,
So what keeps people from healing? It's the fear of being honest, because the fear of rejection. What if I get honest and you reject me? And I'm like, well, what if you get honest and I don't reject you?
exactly, right?
And why, how could I possibly reject you? Because that would mean that I'm better than you.
The
And
hierarchy.
yeah, and I'm sorry, I don't know what world you're living in, but we're all the same. Right? Like,
Ex
if you want me to put all my flaws on the table, quick, let me get my wheelbarrow.
Yeah,
Not
and
enough room and
I'll get
not
this
enough for all my mistakes.
I'll get the spit and shine out after,
Yeah.
right?
We're all I don't think people are broken,
No, we're
we're
not,
not
and we
broken.
don't need
Right?
fixing.
No, we're all a little
No.
bent.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
Eh,
We're all
yeah.
doing exactly the same thing, but we're all hiding it, you know?
Well, dents can be undented,
Yes.
right?
Right?
You get the right tools in there, baby.
Yeah.
You just,
Right.
chisel away and you've got a whole new
Yeah.
whatever it is. It doesn't have the dent and you can do the spit and shine on the dent and it's like new again,
But here's
right?
another thing that really is. Why are we apologizing for our past?
Good
I don't
question.
wanna apologize for past anymore. Listen, I made some really stupid choices in my life. I'm almost a 60-year-old woman. There's things that, yeah, listen, you idiot. I had a do-over, but I'm also human, right?
Yeah.
And those dents, without those dents, I would not be me. And
Nope.
so, would I have done better in some situations if I had more intel? Yeah, I would have. But I'm doing the best I can with what I got today. And for me, that's enough. And if that's not enough for you in your measure, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Eventually, we're going to get together. I don't know. We'll walk each other at another point. But if I'm enough
Exactly.
for me, that's what should matter. But
And
no, we're
and
not all broken. We're
and
bent.
that's it, right? That's what should matter and to whom, right? Which is to
Yeah.
ourself.
Yeah.
Because it's this validation thing, especially when you think in terms of the person that you're looking at or being with or whatever, they're going through the same thing with their own perceptions and they're
Yeah.
not even, and they're not even sometimes expecting any different you,
Right.
but it's our own expectation of a different us to meet their
Mhm.
expectation. And it's like you go, "What the hell? Excuse
Right?
me?" You know? "What the hell?" Right? It's just like, get over it. Yeah.
Right?
Right? Yeah.
Somebody just said that to me the other day. They used those words. I made a comment to something and they said, "Well, this is how it is. Get over it." That's
Mhm.
how the person said it to me. And it was so blunt and I was like, "Oh, I like that."
Yeah.
She
I
made a
mean,
very good point. It
it
is the way it is right now, so just get over it. And I'm
well,
like,
it
"Yeah,
comes
move
with
on."
deep compassion and understanding
Yeah.
and all that, but,
Yeah.
when we walk around continually feeling broken or not, that we need fixing,
Mhm.
the thing is usually there's a trauma and usually the trauma will then allow for the entities to come in and
Mhm.
really, really dig deep and really not allow us to heal,
Right. Right.
right? So it's a matter of ownership of even just simplification of, yeah, I've been traumatized, but
Mm.
sometimes the whole thing around the trauma gets so it becomes a story upon a
Yes.
story upon a story
Mhm.
upon a story, right? I mean, you know the work I do, and this isn't about me, but
Mhm.
just the fact that, you know, I'm sorry, but my ancestors came with one suitcase and $5 and they set up in a mud hut and they had a cow and they had
Mhm.
7 kids and 1 room and, they bloody well gave me what I've got
Mhm.
now. And,
Right.
it's not all yeah, sure, there's things that are doom and gloom and had to be
Mhm.
healed, but there's also resources that people don't even think that they have that are gifts,
Exactly.
right? These are gifts to give
I am
that have given to us to then give to others.
and that's where I'm really passionate.
Yeah,
I'm really passionate about that because we're hurt, okay? We are humans,
sure.
we've been hurt, we've been
Absolutely.
wounded, we've got trauma, so we've got all this baggage. And then for some reason, we are and it's all, inside, we don't carry but there's this thing that says we have to carry this.
Mhm.
I don't there's obligation, family obligation. You gotta carry great-great-grandma's trauma and her old china cabinet, by the way, for
Yeah.
7 generations.
Yeah.
Listen, grandma didn't like the china cabinet to begin with,
It's
and she
going.
keeps saying, let it go, like, this
Yeah,
does not serve our family anymore.
exactly.
Somebody in this family needs to stand up and say, "This doesn't feel right.
Yeah,
We need to do it differently." So, take the
absolutely.
charge, and that's what I know. That knowing, I have known since birth
Mhm.
that I am different. I believe I'm a zebra. Not that I've got, transpecies issues, but what I mean by that
Mhm.
is a zebra. I don't fit in the barnyard. I have weird, crazy stripes, and instead of hiding from them, I celebrate them. I'm different. I think it's just the way my brain works.
Mhm.
I think differently and creatively from people, If we look at people as this is listen, you've got that gift, you've got this gift, and it came from the great grandma. So instead of focused on, all the bad stuff, these
Yeah.
incredible gifts of resilience. You
Oh
said
my
one
god, yeah.
cow. Like
One
I couldn't have survived the way my great grandma did,
in Saskatchewan in -40
right?
below 0
Right?
and, and plowing with literally plowing by hand, a little
Yeah.
rotor, not even electric
Right?
or gas. But, come on. I I have a little altar, for my mom and my dad
Mm,
and my great-grandparents and stuff, and,
yeah.
I go to that altar on a daily basis, and I go, "Show me the way."
Yes. Yes.
That's all I ask.
Yeah.
I don't ask for anything other than just show me the way because you
Mhm.
have proved you knew the way,
Right.
right? And you literally plowed the way.
Yeah.
And so show me the way.
Well, and I truly believe, and I've been a witness to, I've connected with them. Our ancestors are still there with us.
Oh, for
They're not
sure.
physically
No,
in
no.
body standing there, but all that wisdom, all that knowledge, all that knowing, they want to offer it to you. But
It's
we go, oh,
resources.
I
They're,
hate
they
my grandparents. Why don't
oh,
we invite that knowledge back and say, show me the way, exactly like
absolutely.
you're
Show me
doing?
the way.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I'd love to help you.
Yeah. They do. Because
Yeah,
they did it because they wanted it to be
right,
better for us.
right.
I
There
do
was this
yeah,
So
it's
so
yeah.
there was
No,
this
go ahead.
beautiful I just wanna share this beautiful student once. I work with youth, and she said this to me. She had she'd come for oh, man, some really difficult places she'd come from. And we were talking one day, and I said to her, we're doing something in the kitchen, we're cooking. And I said, "What is your favorite saying?" Because I would
Mhm,
write it on the fridge. I always,
mhm,
like, put kids' favorite sayings on the fridge at school. They'd read them. And this kid wrote on there, "It ran in my family until it ran into me."
mhm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, so powerful."
Oh, yeah.
We have the power of choice and of change. We can take our ancestrals and all those teachings and learnings and all, and we can keep the bad stuff or we can let it go. Totally a choice. What do we want to do? And
Totally,
that's what we're doing. We're
totally,
staying on the bright
absolutely.
side, taking the good stuff, working with the bad. I always say to my kids, listen, you got one job. That's it. My 4 kids, they roll their eyes. I know, Mom, to be a better parent than me. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Mhm.
I was a better parent than my mom. My mom was a better parent than her mom. So think about 7 generation.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
family is gonna be
Beautiful.
perfect.
Yeah. No, seriously,
It's
they will be.
impossible.
Well,
But if we just keep doing better than we did yesterday.
yeah, and is that if I could ask, like, is that, if you could whisper one message to kinda every person who feels broken right now, would that be the message?
100%. Is
Oh, wow.
oh, definitely. Is that That's all we have to do. That's
Mhm,
it.
mhm,
And we're not expected. The media expects you to do a lot more, but the
mm,
reality of life, the key message of life is just do better than you did yesterday by your measure.
mhm,
Not by
mhm.
what I think you should be able to do, but what you can do and be proud of that. If that
Right.
means that you put on a pair of pants instead of your pajamas to go to Walmart today, high five for being alive. You did
Yeah,
it. Like,
exactly,
good for
exactly.
you. Let's
No,
celebrate.
seriously,
That's a good
absolutely.
thing,
That's a good thing, and take those
right?
rollers out of your hair, we're
Could you?
good.
My aunt used to say this, and I mean, we were poor as church mice, you know. She used to say this, listen, just because you are poor doesn't mean you need to look poor,
Oh, I love
right?
it, but it's
And so
true,
we had no money, but she'd always make sure we were clean, you know?
and how she
And it,
felt inside, right? By
right?
f
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
Right.
I
What
mean
is our value? What is our worth? Right.
exactly.
And if we are beautiful humans, every one of us, every one of us. So if we teach our children right from birth to know their own worth, you're
Mhm.
amazing. You're incredible. You're perfectly, perfectly perfect, just the way you are, kiddo. Right? Yeah, you got some things you need to work on. You're a bit of an idiot some days,
Yeah.
but we're going to do that. But could you imagine what self-esteem,
Oh, and
right?
the fact is that when you have self-esteem, you actually look forward to the next day,
Exactly. And
right?
you're not hurting people,
And you're not hurting people. No,
right?
exactly. So when you think, when you, right, think about spiritual resilience, what personal
Mm,
practices
mm.
and mindsets have kept you anchored?
I had to take I had to get connected with what spirituality means to me because
Okay.
I work in a Catholic system, right? I work
Okay.
in a Catholic
Mhm.
school. I mean, I'm not Catholic.
Right?
So you're always walking this, should I be there? Shouldn't I be there? Is this faith? Is it not faith? What is it supposed to look like?
Mhm.
And we are so drawn into what the media has expected of us. We should look this way, walk this way, talk this way. When you pray to a God, you need to do it this way.
Right.
Okay. So then what happens is you end up with imposter syndrome. I
Right.
tried to be all that. And I realized that God was just sat up there and laughed at me and said, "You look stupid. Pick a side," he said. "Pick a side, girl." So it was Elder. She said to me one day on the medicine wheel, she said, "You're going to get a lot of information, a lot of information." So what you have to do is you have to take what feels right for you
Mhm.
and leave the rest on the side of the road.
Mhm.
So what is faith for you, Cheryl? What is faith for you? And for me is I had to realize that this is not some big scary dude that, I went to Sunday school. We were all scared to death of the
Yeah.
big white guy in the
Mm.
coat. And
Yeah.
when I realized this is about relationship. So spirituality is about a relationship with who you want to see yourself to be, your 80-year-old self.
Mm.
That's spirituality. It's being connected to that higher self.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's with that God beside you or creator or pet rock or I don't know, whatever spaghetti tin helmet. I don't care. Whatever that
Mhm.
is for you,
Mhm.
that higher self. And how does that feel? Hang on to that feeling of what that is and then live your life today like that feeling.
Mm.
That's spirituality. Do that.
Mm. Mhm.
Do that.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
hug a stranger. you know? And
And
I
well,
do think
since
it's simple. I do think it's simple. Basic
absolutely.
human dignity is simple. Make
Yeah.
eye contact with people. It's
Oh,
simple.
so, so vital, right?
And
It's
understand that everybody's at a different place.
yeah.
We're all but we're all going to the same place. You're just, somebody's on level 1 and floor 1, and some people are still in the basement. Other people, they've hit the 13th floor yet. I don't know. Some of us don't even get off the elevator. We just keep going up and down, up and down. You're like,
Well,
for
if
God's
if
sakes.
if you're on an elevator with some young kids, you might never get off because
Right?
they love to press the buttons, right?
I love it.
So
And I love that. I love that. And I'm the one in there now going with the kids. Come
yeah,
on, let's press more buttons.
let's press
I,
more buttons.
I'm like, get curious, kids. Challenge this.
See where the venture takes us, right?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're like,
absolutely.
right? And they're fun. The kids are fun. Right? And listen, adults are boring.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
old and stuffy.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. I think we just got to play more often. I'm not sure, but
Well, is that how you personally reconnect with your soul when the noise of the world gets too loud?
I actually, yes, I get in my car and I run out to the field and I scream my head off. I will go
Okay.
to a park. I will
Mhm.
hug a tree. I literally do this.
Mhm.
I believe that you got whatever's inside's got to get outside. You got to
Mhm.
get it out somehow. So I dance it out, I scream it out, I laugh it out, I jog it out. Well, I shouldn't say jog. Let's be honest. I'm not jogging anywhere. Running for the toilet paper.
I'm running for
Um,
exactly.
yeah. No, I just think I guess I have spent my whole life believing that I'm not enough, worried that, oh my gosh, what will people think of me? You know what? It doesn't matter what you think of me. It really doesn't. If we're walking on the same street, that's great. If you're not comfy on this side of the street, that's okay. I'm okay if you walk on the other side.
Mhm.
We're all just going the same direction.
Oh, totally.
I believe that,
Absolutely, and who
right?
knows where that is, but we're on
Yeah.
it,
You
right?
said something very profound to me, which was a game changer. So I have there's three women in my life that have, four, sorry, four that have really said profound words to me. And you were one of them. And you said these words. You said when you were doing family constellations, which if anybody, any listener out there has an opportunity to do family constellations, please do it. It is, I can't even describe to you what Collie can do to help you connect to something you've never been ever believed that you could connect with for. She can do that. It's amazing. Anyway, but you said these words. You said the longest journey we ever take the longest road we ever take is the journey back home to our first mother.
Mhm.
You
It's
said
true.
that.
It
And I didn't
is.
understand it. I thought, what the hell was this first mother stuff? And it was from that day. That was on August the 11th. From that day, that's what set me on my quest.
Oh my
Who's
god.
my first mother? And that
Mm.
is the Mother Earth. And to find out my own mother was gone before I was even born. Like
Mhm.
literally, her last name was gone. GAW. She was actually gone. So my mother
Wow.
couldn't even parent it, you know?
Mhm.
To and what are we doing? So all we're doing is we're trying to chase that message that we're enough. We're
Oh,
trying to get right back into the womb where we were finally safe and we were enough. And I truly believe that's all we're doing. That's why we do addictions. I'm a recovering alcoholic. It was the wine that made me feel enough. Nothing else ever did.
really? Hmm.
And it's that feeling. I was chasing that. It was the one thing in my life that never judged me. And it was consistent and it was there. And it made me amazing. And it
Really?
loved me. Oh my
Wow.
god. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Wine made me amazing. Didn't you know?
But
Right?
how? How could wine make
Oh,
you amazing?
well, wine makes you amazing because listen, for only $10, I can be a classy drunk, right?
Oh,
I can be classy. I can be fun. Without that glass of wine, I'm not intelligent. I could be really sexy. I look a lot sexier holding on to a glass of wine now, don't you? Right?
hmm.
I'm more intelligent. I look like I've got money because I'm holding on a glass of wine. It's all these subliminal messages that it
Okay,
tells you.
okay, yeah.
And it says, you are enough. And I love you and I accept you for just as who you are. Wine does that. Humans don't. So it's easier to hang out with wine.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Because 'cause I've always with my experience well, you know, there's many experiences in terms of my trainings and stuff with family constellations and addictions, but definitely with alcohol, it is such that if you're in a relationship, say, whether two women or two men or a man and woman or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's a relationship. You're supposed to be relating to one another. But if there is alcohol involved, the alcohol is the mistress.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you ever have a relationship,
Right.
right? Because it's always going to be the one that's tantalizing and more seductive.
Well, and you think of alcohol, the word for alcohol is spirits.
Oh yeah, and the spirits do
So it
love.
has an energy,
It
right?
has an energy. Yeah,
Yeah.
spirits in the room and spirits in the
Mm-hmm.
bottle and spirits, and
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, and
And
so the
it lives within you.
well for sure the entities, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
it was about well, it'd be 3 years. I think 3
Hmm.
years.
Well,
3
good
years.
for
I just
you.
remember looking into the bottom of the wine glass and I seen, the well, actually, I seen the face of my abuser, like, literally
Oh,
seen it. It was the weirdest thing. I looked in the
my
bottom,
god.
there he was. It's like the holy grail of the toast. I don't know. I just seen him. It was really bizarre, and I seen him, and it was a defining day, and I was like, "Oh,
Wow.
that's the message." And it was this, "Oh, you're going to be so important."
Really?
I need you. You can't be anything without me. Oh, it was bizarre.
Oh,
It
my
was
word.
bizarre. It was bizarre.
Well,
Yeah,
that would be a shift. I mean, that would
yeah,
be a life-changing shift.
yeah,
Yeah, that would
yeah.
be
You
wow.
right? And I did talk to my therapist, so I wasn't going crazy. But they said when you get to a place in your life where you're ready to
Yeah,
release the addiction,
yeah.
it will show up in different forms, in different ways,
Oh,
and
for sure.
everybody is different, right? And so that's how it showed up for me, was very loud and clear.
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%. I remember doing yoga with Sandra Sammartino in Vancouver. It was like for years I was with her. She's like an amazing woman, amazing yoga instructor. She's well into her mid 80s and stuff. And I remember being in a yoga class with her because I wasn't intending ever to be a teacher, but one day she said to me, you're going to be a teacher." And,
Mm.
anyway, long story short, I ended up in her dedicated teacher training, which was 3 hours of intense training every Friday morning for I don't know how many years. But it would be one pose only, and you hold that pose sometimes
Oh,
for 3 hours. And
oh,
she said in her training, she was married to a psychotherapist, and he came in one day to, show us about body language in terms of different people when they walk and how you can see it in a human body when they come in for a yoga class. But she said, and I'll never forget it, she said, As far as addictions go, you don't have to ever concentrate on giving it up because one day it'll give you up."
ah, well said.
Yeah. Right?
Well said.
It'll give you up
Yeah.
when
Oh, I
you
like
get to,
that.
yeah, I loved it. And yeah. So, so it's like,
Well, and it changes, like, it changes your relationship
hmm
with it, and here's with any kind of an addiction, I think that's what we need to understand, that any kind of addiction, I don't care what it is,
yeah, no,
it's a
exactly.
relationship with something.
Well,
It
yeah.
is not external, and when people are like, "I don't understand why they can't give up," why didn't they have to have that other drink? It's a relationship. It's like, well, I wouldn't leave my wife standing there. I wouldn't leave her alone. It's the same thing in the mindset
hmm
of someone who's addicted. It's y it's a relationship, and I love
Oh,
that.
totally.
It's going to break up with you. This is
Absolutely.
great. I gotta
Yeah.
remember that.
Well, that's exactly why I said with regards to in any
Yeah.
relationship, right? If it's in whatever it is, the choice of which is in between you and the other, it's there.
Mhm.
It's a mistress,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's another person in
Mhm.
the relationship, and you can't bypass that,
Exactly.
right? And individually it has to at one point give you up. Or if it doesn't give you up, then you're not working towards anything where it will give you up,
Right.
right?
Or then and also in some relationships, they just another person enters and you give
Oh,
up
yeah.
both of them.
Well, you substitute, right? It's a substitution, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
You
So
when when you find out your man's in love with another, you're like, "Ah, there's not enough room in the bed for 3.
exactly,
Goodbye."
and then the wine there too, so it's like
Oh, yeah,
3,
and the wine
4 of
there too.
us. Yeah,
Had to choose, had to choose. Listen,
exactly,
I took the wine and left him, that's what I did.
exactly,
The wine was
exactly.
cheaper.
It was cheaper, yeah, oh
It
my
was cheap
god, yeah, exactly. So,
and a lot more fun, to be
a
honest.
lot more fun, exactly. So, you know what I was gonna
Uh,
ask you,
mm,
in in your eyes, right?
yeah.
What's the deeper purpose of pain and darkness in our
Mm,
human journey?
mm. To get us to the next step,
Mm,
to get us to the next step. I think that there's lessons that we're all here to learn, this incarnation.
mhm,
And, we are way too stubborn. If it was easy to learn this stuff,
mhm,
we would done it, but we don't. We're all way too stubborn. So I think it gets hard, so we pay attention.
mm. So how did you first discover your connection to Reiki and healing energies?
Mm,
I mean, was it something, I know you talk about the inner knowing, right? So was it
mm.
something you always felt, or did it awaken through your life experiences?
No, it's not something I always felt, and the actual truth is I had a very good friend of mine who went off to the forest out in BC
Mhm.
and called me and said that she had this crazy experience with something called Reiki, and I
Mm.
was like, "Okay, what's she smoking? I'll be right out there." Right?
Right.
She
Yeah.
just described this thing, and I'm like, "That's an impossibility," and because I trusted her, I was
Mhm.
curious
Mm.
because she had said that it was a modality, it was something different than anything else, and so because I trusted her, I thought, "I'm gonna try this," And my first experience with Reiki was I had had a session, and because I'm severe attention deficit disorder, ADD, and I don't settle in, survival mode, and my brain's always busy, and I never, always the back of my neck, the hair on the back of my neck stands up
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
my life. Always, always. And I'm in this Reiki session, and I'm not feeling any of that. And I am like in that abyss like I was when I was drowning. I had
Mm.
that same feeling.
Okay.
And there was colors. There was these bursts of colors. And I'm like, okay, there was no alcohol involved. There's no substance involved in this experience. And
Right.
it was real. And I thought, okay, this is real. This is attainable. I'm curious. And it was the first time that something connected and resonated with my own soul. And it
R
wasn't talk therapy. And I
right.
went, I need to know. And so that was in 2013, and I've been on a quest ever since. And
Wow.
yeah, there's just something different because it's your own experience. And I think because there was nothing expected of me,
Mhm. Mhm.
was most therapies there are, right? There's
Right.
an
Mhm.
expectation. So you're never really in the moment. You're always waiting to respond.
Right. Exactly. Will I get it right?
Yeah. And with
Yeah.
Reiki, it has nothing to do with me. That's the best part about it.
No,
Nothing to
I
do with me.
I can honestly say, because to the audience, I have had sessions with you. My family has had sessions with you, and it's phenomenal. Like there is a very deep intuitive energy work, and that you've helped, us personally heal from various traumas and hardships and things like that. And it's, yeah, you can't really just like, I can't go into a session with you and
Mhm.
have an outcome because it's not going to happen. And not just that, but the thing is, it is like this whole ethereal kind of high that happens. And for me, anyway, because my body's very sensitive in terms of all the work I've done and
Mhm.
all the training I've done and everything. But it is this amazing, I would say, amazing trip. It's an
Well,
amazing
trip.
trip.
That's the only way you could describe it. Like
Yeah.
somebody will say to me, "Well, what can I expect?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." Like
No.
I can't. I said it's just going to be weird. Like
Yeah.
I can't even. It's just weird what's going to happen because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes spirits show up, and next thing you know, there's great grandpa standing there having a conversation with me, and I've got to say to the client, "Hey, I don't know if you're open to this, but grandpa here has something to tell you."
Yeah,
And then
exactly,
it's
right?
really bizarre. Like, it's
Yeah.
bizarre what can happen.
Well, I know
Whereas
it.
some Reiki sessions, it's different, but I don't know.
Well,
You just go
yeah,
where you go.
the
Hope you're
the
not
thing
crazy.
when you work with clients, I mean, your psychic and intuitive abilities obviously enhance the healing sessions because you do have the psychic
Mm,
and intuitive abilities, which are phenomenal,
mm,
right? And
thank you.
but yet people, I get it because even in my work, you know, for your work, many people must think of psychic gifts as something kind of out there,
Mhm.
but you've lived it in a very grounded, real way. So, what's a misconception, right, that you wish people would understand about true intuition?
Oh, first of all, not everybody's grandmother's gonna like me. And
Okay.
here's the thing. So somebody will come in and they'll be like, "I wanna connect with my great-grandmother." Okay? And
Mm,
I'm like, "Okay, we can try that." And great-grandma's not coming. She's not coming. And
okay.
I'm like, chances are the woman never liked me on this side either. Maybe we
Right.
don't I'm not her person. I'm not your messenger. So, lots of people, they will brush off and they'll go spend a lot
Mm,
of money to go to a psychic, okay?
okay.
And I don't mean to discount those people, they're lovely
No, no.
people, okay? My thought is this, okay? If your person loves you, would they ask you to go spend money you don't have to talk to them? Would
Oh,
they actually
good
do that,
point. Yeah, I
right?
love it, girl. Yeah.
So because listen, my mom passed. My mom and
Mhm.
I had an opportunity to have a conversation with my mom before she passed, and believe it or not, after she passed through a psychic.
Right?
And I didn't pay for any of that. And my mom would have never sent me to anybody that cost money because she knows I don't have any. So I
Right.
always say to people this, I'm like, listen, you got to trust your own knowing. If it doesn't If it's light, it's right. If it's heavy, it's wrong. It's just that simple, people.
I
If
love
it, and if you
it.
have to force it, if you go see a psychic, a medium, or somebody, and they're like, "Oh well, I see that you like the color blue. It is very expensive, and you know it." Well, you're sitting there wearing a blue shirt, right? You gotta be careful. You gotta be careful because you're vulnerable right now,
Yeah.
and there's people out there that will take advantage of that.
Oh,
And I
for
always say
sure.
to people, listen, if Grandma's going to show up and wants to talk to me, great, I will. But you got to know she might not like me, and she has that right to choose.
Mm.
And so that happens. So that's the misconception,
Mhm.
is that if I
Okay.
just sit there, if I pay $500 for a ticket and I sit in the front row and I close my eyes and I say, Mom, come visit, come visit, come visit, she's going to show up. Misconception. Because the
Right.
lady sitting right beside you, her mother is louder and bossier and speaks louder than your voice. So her guide is going to come through. Right?
Okay.
So it's a crapshoot, people. It's a crapshoot.
Is
So
that okay?
don't
Okay.
invest in a higher ticket thinking you're going to get a greater reading. You're
Y
not.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Right?
so leading into, has there ever been a moment during a healing session, or a psychic insight where, you personally were in awe of what came through?
Every time I'm in that room,
Okay.
every time I can't, the stories I could tell you, it's mind blowing. The things
Mm.
that show up, and I actually say this, and forgive my language, but I just stand there now and I'm like, I can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
There's no way I could. And just an example, yesterday. Okay, I
Okay.
have a client yesterday. This
Okay.
beautiful woman, beautiful woman. She has clearly put her life on hold for everybody else. She's now
Mm.
hitting her 50s.
Mhm.
And she was like, I need to do something different. She's not told anybody about this particular plan that she has.
Okay.
But yesterday, I gave her the date.
Oh,
She looks at
wow.
me and she goes, How did you know? I said, Good question. How did I know?
Oh my
So
gosh.
that kind of stuff. So when your guides want you to
Mm.
know, they will send you the right person. Do you see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Oh, yeah, I know
And
because 'cause
and
I've been with
sometimes
you.
and they send you signs, but you're, like, too blind to see it. "No, no, I need my guru to show me." And your
Mm.
mother's going like, "No, you don't. I'm right here. I'm flashing the light in front of your face." And you're like, "No, it can't be because I didn't spend $500 for that session."
And
No.
I'm wearing the blue shirt beside the next woman
Right?
who's wearing the blue shirt, but her
Right.
mother's louder than my mother.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
you gotta know you gotta go with what you know
Yeah.
inside your heart because the misconception in our mystical world,
Mm.
the misconception is this, is that you need to have all these incredible special skills and pay a lots of money. We all
Mhm.
have the gift to connect with people that love us because love has no bounds in time or space.
And it doesn't
So
cost.
grandma loves you today. Although she never seen you, she died when you were 2.
Yeah.
Grandma knows you, grandma sees you, grandma's with you.
Yeah.
Grandma's there,
Abs
right?
absolutely.
And because we
Absolutely.
can't touch or taste, we do not believe. But in reality, when we were born, we had all this already inside of us. It's all
Oh,
there, all of us. So
phenomenal.
are we enough? Yes, we are.
And
Are we connected? Yes.
always have been, always will be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Cheryl, how do you keep your own energy clear? I mean, with
Mm.
everything that's going on for you, in this worldly sort of walk through,
Mhm.
how do you keep your own energy clear and protected when you're constantly tuning into others' emotions and energies? How do
Well,
you do it?
thanks to the good wisdom of an incredible mentor of mine,
Mm.
taught me that you don't have to carry this. When
Okay.
you open this kind of stuff, you're in complete control. So you can say, "Listen, I'm open for 24 hours. After that, I'm closing up shop."
Oh,
So
okay.
you're always in control. That's
Right.
another myth. We
Okay.
believe, "Oh, we're so open 24/7." No, I'm tired. I'm busy. Got my own
Mm.
life. So I know now from a lot of training, a lot of
Mhm.
learning,
Mhm.
a lot of experience, a lot of listening, a
Right.
lot of mistakes, that your stuff is not mine to carry. I am your messenger for that
Mm.
time and space, not
Okay.
mine for after that. It is not attached to me at all in any way or shape, not my ego. I'm not out to perform. I'm not trying to prove myself. So, how do I keep my energy? I do what I'm asked to do, and then that's all I do. I
Okay.
don't go above and beyond. Like, I don't have to carry all this stuff with me. I do closing. I clear
Mhm.
myself. I clear my own energies. More importantly, I know what's my business and what isn't, so I stay out of your business.
Okay. I love it.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
'Cause
love
I
it.
mean, it'd be great if I could take all your stuff
Oh,
and make
yeah.
you well, that'd be lovely, but I'm dead tomorrow. So
Y
I learned through my own
yeah.
hell that how do I
Exactly.
walk around with an oxygen mask in my pocket,
Oh,
right?
shit.
It used to be a bottle of vodka, it isn't anymore. Now it's
It's
called life,
it's called life, and I'm living it, baby, right?
right? Yeah, and I
Yeah.
do, yeah, I'll get in my car and go scream. You'll see me hug a tree. I'm the weird lady hugging a tree.
Oh, yeah.
I have a cat.
Me too,
That's
and
right.
wringing out
Yeah,
towels out in the backyard
yeah,
screaming. Yeah. You
yeah.
gotta. You gotta
I
get it.
took a group of youth the other day out
Mm.
to the park.
Mhm.
These 4 boys, they had something happen to them and they weren't allowed really to talk about it. So I said, "Well, let's go
Oh.
talk about it." So I take them to the park and they're mad. And I'm like, "Well, get mad." And so this kid's like, tapping on the tree and I'm like, "Dude, really? Really? That's all you got?" He's like, "Well, I should." And then he starts like just banging on the tree with a stick and I'm like, "Go for it." And then
Yeah.
he's screaming and the next thing you know, he's crying. And he's crying and we're all crying. And then we're all laughing.
Aw.
And then we went for a walk and we did a little prayer. It took 5 minutes, but you know
Oh.
what? They
Mhm.
got it out of their system. They're not gonna
Yeah.
go beat up Billy next week.
No, and they're not gonna carry it and get a disease,
Right?
right? Yeah,
Yes. You're
exactly.
allowed to feel what you gotta feel, buddy.
Yeah,
Feel it,
and let it rip, baby.
right? In the right
Yeah,
place,
in the right well, and in a safe place with
right?
you, right?
Yeah.
With you, because you're honoring them. You see them, you include them, you
Right.
acknowledge them, and you make them know that they belong.
That's what we need to be doing with every child
Yeah,
in this
absolutely.
world. And people
Absolutely.
begin to heal once they feel heard. So if
Oh,
we shut up long enough and stand still long enough, and when we ask somebody how they are, we actually listen, can you imagine the world we would have?
oh,
Oh,
take
ugh.
me there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going.
Well, it take me there, but it's the world that I attempt
Yeah,
to create
yeah,
with my clients, with my
yeah.
friends, with my family, and sometimes I personally catch myself, "Collie, just shut up."
Mhm.
Just seriously, just
Yeah,
just let the grandkids talk, right?
yeah.
Just enter their map of reality, right? And
They have so much more fun than we do,
oh, frick, yeah, totally,
right?
you know?
Mud puddle jumping, it's great.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
And you work with, within the education system. And
mm,
so what is working in the education
mm.
system teaching you about resilience, community, and the human spirit?
Well, I am excited, like, I feel like I should be paying them to go there
Mm.
every day
Oh.
because what I've learned more than anything is our
Mhm.
kids, what they want is they want connection.
Yeah.
So my role in the school system is I do wellness. It's officially a student achievement support worker,
Mhm.
but it's wellness. So I go in and we talk about
Yep.
mindfulness and we talk about feelings. And so I'm in there for 30 minutes
Oh, wow.
and we just talk about, you know what, hey, how are you doing, guys?
Mhm.
And it's just about having a conversation. Kids don't need more curriculum.
No.
Kids don't need more papers and pencils and a new diagram and draw me a picture. What they want is they want for the whole classroom to stop and listen to they're about to say.
Mm.
Just give me 2 minutes to know that I'm being heard.
Mhm.
And it changes the dynamics of the classroom family.
Mhm.
When everybody, even if it's just for 2 minutes, they get to be heard once a week.
Wow.
That's wellness. That says
Mm.
you are enough. You are valued. Your opinion matters.
Yep.
That's what I do in a school system. And
Wow.
right from kindergartens, and those little guys that come in, and I say to them, "What's your superpower?" And they look at me
Aw.
with the big eyes. And I'm like,
Mhm.
"What do you feel inside of you? Can you feel it? What's your superpower?" It usually starts with your first name because they don't know.
Aw.
So it's a little girl, and she's beautiful, and her name is Paisley. I'm like,
Oh.
"Oh, Paisley, patience. Patience,
Mm.
that's your superpower." And do you know she's the most patient little gaffer I've ever seen?
Oh
And she
my
tells
gosh.
everybody, "I'm gonna sit here because I got patience. It's my superpower."
Aw. How
And she's in kindergarten. Imagine her in grade 6.
oh my god.
I got patience,
Yeah.
your superpower. So
Wow.
that's what and these kids are teaching me about simplicity
Mm.
because they don't want anything fancy. And I say to them, what do you want for Christmas? And you know what they say to me? I want to have time with my family. No kid wants
Wow.
Christmas at Walmart. They really don't.
No.
They want to talk to grandma on the phone.
Mhm.
Kids want connection. Kids want to eat at a table. Our kids don't eat at the family table. Did you know that?
No.
Nobody eats at dinner.
I know. There's no family eating at the
No.
table, or if they are, everybody's on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen,
I
in our
see it all
family,
the time in restaurants or walking by a coffee shop.
mm,
I'm going, "Why are you even here?"
yeah. My son, I love my son. He says one day for family dinner, I've got adult children, lots of grandchildren.
Mhm.
We're all sitting at the table and he says, okay, everybody put your phone in the middle of the table. And we
Mhm.
make this sculpture out of the table. And then they say this, if you touch your phone during dinner, you have to eat pepper. Now, I'm not talking just a shake. So
Yeah.
there's mama. I touched my phone because, I thought I was getting a phone call from the daughter. And I had to eat a tablespoon of pepper
Oh,
on top of
gross.
my pumpkin pie.
Oh.
So we do not touch our cell phones, but we do that every time we're together now.
That's awesome.
They all sit in the middle of the table
Well,
as a centerpiece. And we have to eat pepper.
yeah, I mean, I just did a whole course on this, and unfortunately, a lot of people just don't realize that this whole thing with the cell phone is, unfortunately, really in a way designed to do exactly what it's doing, which is to disrupt
Mhm.
the family and to divide and conquer
Right.
and to make our youth, unfortunately, feel less than, not
Mhm.
included, not seen, not good enough, all that. And so that's where you get the tremendous high suicide rate among
Right.
especially girls and
Right.
boys too, but more so the girls. And it's really, because it changes the brain, the frontal cortex. It,
Mhm.
with regards to it lowers the dopamine, right? And then you keep
100%.
going in more and more and more to get that dopamine hit,
Right.
but it keeps lowering it. And so then you get the whole situation with regards to the insidiousness around the suicidal tendency.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's pre-designed and it's doing a good job, and our job, your job, my job, I believe, is to, reconnect people to, like with family constellations and systemic trauma and freedom from self-sabotage in my work. It's come on, people. My
Mhm.
ancestors came over with, like I said, $5 suitcase. They didn't have a
Yeah.
cell phone.
Right.
They didn't even
And you
have
know
a
what I
phone,
like to do?
you
I
know?
like to challenge the kids. I would like to say to them, "Okay, you got your cell phone? Text your mom, 'I love you.'"
Mhm. Yeah.
They're like, "What?" "No, no,
Oh,
I want everybody take out their cell phone right now. I need you to text your," and I would say caregiver because we don't know what they're living,
yeah,
right? Let's
exactly,
who's
exactly.
to say you're living with mom and dad? So I would say
Right.
caregiver. Who's somebody that you love. I need you to find somebody that you love on your list. Now I want you to text them just this, nothing
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
"I love you." That's it. Send out the message. And
Aw,
it's hilarious. It's hilarious what happens. It's
amazing.
fantastic.
It's
And the
fantastic.
conversations. And it's about taking something negative and using it for good. Because if
Mhm.
it's there, listen, it's there. What are we going to do about it? Let's
Exactly.
try and change it. Let's change the
Exactly.
narrative if we do it that way, right? And we get kids that are like, when they get a message from mom or dad in the middle of the day, hey kid, I just want to let you know I love you. Oh,
Mm.
you would not believe just the change in that child. The
Oh,
change in that child, the body language, the structure, the conversation, ooh, oh yeah, it's
ooh, yeah.
incredible.
The
Oh yeah, it's
peacock,
incredible.
the
Oh,
peacock
peacocking.
strut the
Oh yeah.
feathers, right?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, yeah,
I belong.
yeah,
I'm
I
enough.
belong. I'm
Yeah.
enough. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm included, right? I'm
I'm
seen,
included.
felt.
Yeah.
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 And with, you know, with you being in the education system, if you could if you could redesign
Mm,
education to truly support young souls in their emotional and spiritual growth, Cheryl, what would it look like?
mm. It would look. I believe our system is doing a really good job. They're trying really hard.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think
Mhm.
teachers are overwhelmed. I think there's a lot of false expectations. What would it would look like? It would
Mhm.
look like every morning
Mhm.
for the first hour of every day,
Mhm.
every child will sit in a circle in their classroom and they have a conversation, just do a check-in. Maybe it's not an hour, maybe it's only 30 minutes, but every child every morning has the talking stick and gets a chance to say hi, good morning. and
Mm,
they get to hear from a teacher or a staff member, I'm really glad you're here today, kiddo.
mm,
I think that's what I would see.
mm.
We would teach to the child's heart first and then to the brain. And how you
Wow.
can do that is the first 30 minutes of every day of school. The
Mm,
school would look differently. That's it. And then they can go back to what they're doing. But the
right,
first 30 minutes, hi, I'm really glad you're here. I'm really
right.
glad you're here. Man, I'm really glad you're here.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah,
Very, very powerful.
that's what I would do.
Well, I know you have a meeting at 6
Yeah.
o'clock and it's 5:51 here in
Oh,
CST, but I want to just ask you one
yeah.
closing reflection. If you could leave our listeners, your listeners, with one sole truth that they can carry into their own healing journey, what would it be?
Mm. I would invite every listener
Mm,
to walk over to a mirror, to look into the mirror
mhm,
and see the person on the other side and know that that perfect person is absolutely perfect just the way they are.
mm,
Perfectly, perfectly perfect just the way you are. Not a damn thing wrong with you.
mm.
You are perfect. You are enough.
Exactly. And on that note, I feel full and I'm honored and humbled and grateful. And God, girl, I love you.
I am so grateful for just, well, the place to have a voice, to be able to speak. Like, I love what you do here. It's conversation. And it's so casual and it's so real and it's so honest and so comfortable. Thank you. Thank you. And again, family constellations, let me tell you, can't wait till we do stuff together because it is a game changer. There isn't even, it's like Reiki. You know, it's
Mhm.
hard to even
It's hard to
explain
describe it
the
unless you've had it.
connection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, it's undescribable.
It is. It is.
It's people do magic mushrooms to reach utopia. That moment that I had that connection when I seen my mother, when
Mhm.
I seen her and
Mm.
this little tiny wooden block, but I felt her. Although she was dead, you did that for me. That was, listen, and no psychedelics could ever make that moment happen. I don't think it's possible. That's what you
Well,
did for me.
it's
Amazing.
oh my God. It's my masters who've brought the gift of this in my life to give and serve. And what can I say? I'm honored and humbled and grateful. And it's been a journey, Cheryl. It's been a journey for both of us. And oh my God, I can't wait to work with you. And in terms of doing stuff collaboratively,
I would put the fun in healing. Let's put the fun in healing.
absolutely, because it is. It's not so freaking serious. It's
Yeah.
fun. And you know what? When it's fun and it's like my favorite tree is the birch tree because it peels and it heals, right?
Ah,
And
peels and
and
heels. I like
it
it.
peels and heals. And so do we.
Yeah,
We can peel and
exactly.
heal. And then,
Yeah.
and then we find the exquisite exotic and
Mhm.
the total delight.
Yeah.
So to me, trauma is about finding the gift and then
Mhm.
opening the package and
Yeah.
just, feeling the essence of the erotic because it's erotic to find that
Oh, yeah.
whole healingness within that is there waiting to be opened. So anyway,
Well, I love that. I love the discovery.
yeah,
I love the
absolutely.
hunt and the discovery,
It is.
Like
It is.
digging underground and
Yeah.
what seems to be dark is so freaking beautiful when you
Yeah,
can see it differently. It's
absolutely.
incredible what's under there,
It
right?
is. It is. And
I do. And that's what I enjoy about you is that we've discovered together. You and I discover things together.
oh yeah.
Oh, it's just, yeah.
And it's just starting. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be a heck of a
it's
ride.
gonna be a heck of a
Jump in the
ride for
station
sure.
wagon. Come on.
Oh my god. Yeah, well, those
Yeah.
like I say,
Yeah.
those pop-up
Yeah.
family constellation sessions during the
100%.
summer, we're gonna do them, girl. We're gonna do them.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
I just it's a
absolutely.
beautiful process, and
It
it's
is.
what our world needs, and it's right back to the beginning. We're just going backwards. It's fantastic.
Well, Gypsy Roma, they just traveled and they set up a tent and they did it and they
Love
left.
it. I love it. Yeah.
I love it.
I've got gypsies in my blood too, so hey,
There you
listen.
go, sister. We're all good. We're all
Okay.
good. But you've got to get going because you've got a
Yes, I
group to
do.
lead,
Okay.
and I'm gonna
Thank you.
say
Have a wonderful night.
you too, darling. I love you.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you so
thank you so
much.
much.
Okay,
Okay,
sweetie.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.